Most Palestinian women are farmers. They are protectors and keepers of the land. Many Palestinian women are professionals, educators, medical doctors. They are builders of the society.
Good evening. I'm honored to address women and men on the occasion of International Women's Day 2016. I would like to share my input as a Palestinian woman, a native of Jerusalem, and also as an expert who has been practicing under occupation. I think that the struggle of Palestinians is relevant to many people in the world. It is relevant to those who are marginalized and oppressed, but it is also relevant to those who want to fight injustice with solidarity and steadfastness. I would like to talk about the majority of Palestinian women, ordinary women, who transform pain and trauma into life and survival. Not about the few politicians who got to their posts because of a certain quota or because simply they fulfill a masculine agenda. The emancipation of women is very important for national liberation. And yes, we need to care about the rights of women and the rights of children. On the other hand, it is at least naive, but maybe hypocritical, to claim that we care about the rights of women when human rights for each and every Palestinian are violated. And this is the situation. There are many people, Western powers, claim that they care about women's rights and they express sympathy towards the women in Gaza who have to face the Islamists and so on, while the rights and the freedom of each and every Palestinian there is at risk and is violated. Of course, women have a special experience in trauma and life under occupation, while the injuries of men are more prominent, more visible. The injuries of women tend to be more psychological and less bloody, and they cannot be seen as easily as the wounds of men. We have more men going to prison, more men killed or injured due to occupation, while women's injuries are not well seen or appreciated. But it is usually the women who have to maintain the family, to cope with the grief reaction when the men are absent or disappear forever. The system of checkpoint oppressed all Palestinians, preventing access to work, to family members, and to health, and access to health as well. And while we all were at a disadvantage, women especially had horrible experiences at the checkpoint. They had to deliver their babies at checkpoint, and many of the newborn babies died at checkpoint because they could not reach the hospital on time. Many Palestinian women think that bringing children to this life is a form of resistance and survival. Because of that, Israeli propaganda targeted Palestinian women's character. Ayelet Shaked, a Knesset member, incited the army in the last attack to Gaza. She told the army that they should target Palestinian women because it is from their uterus that the little Palestinian snakes come to this life. In Israeli literature, they refer to Palestinian women's uterus as a demographic bomb. An academic from Bar Ilan University, Mordechai Kedar, he stated on the radio, Hakol Diborim, that a bomber will stop only if he knows that his sister or his wife will be raped if he bombs himself. This incitement against Palestinian women goes unnoticed, unprotested, even by the feminist groups in the world. It is the women who protect the narrative and the memories of Palestinians. We learned many important stories that are not present in history books from our mothers and grandmothers. And with this story, with the narrative of the Palestinian history, the value system is maintained, and this is very important. Also, women have participated significantly in keeping the structure of the family. The humiliation of the father because he fails to protect his children, because he might become absent because due to imprisonment. It is the mother who usually tries to contain the family when the father is absent. Recently, I learned about a group of women in Gaza who are supporting the boycott, and they announced that they will not cook for their families if the husband provides any Israeli element on the table. Childhood is interrupted in Palestine. In the experience of many children, that the soldiers come to their homes in the middle of the night with dogs, masked soldiers, cannot see anything of their face. They yell at everybody in Hebrew. Many of these children don't understand the Hebrew, and it's a scary experience. And the parents, especially the father, fail to prevent the arrest of the child. So this first experience is very damaging to the role of the father in the eyes of the child. Then this child goes to prison. I worked with one child whose age is 14, and he has been arrested 14 times. And this boy comes back home and he cannot live under the authority of his parents. The family structure is completely disrupted by the experience of this child. For him, the men outside the home are more important than his father. He is befriending men in their 30s and 40s and find it extremely difficult to listen to his parents. Children don't have to go through an exceptionally traumatic experience like being killed, wounded, or arrested by the occupation. The little things, having access to family members, to leisure places, to school, can be a big challenge in Palestine. The hope to travel abroad to continue studies is a hope that seems impossible to many Palestinians. Many crushed hopes and dreams for Palestinian young people. The word resilience is a trendy word in positive psychology. The word sumud is older. It has been used since the end of the 19th century, the opposition to the British mandate and also in resistance to the occupation. The word resilience is a state of mind. The word sumud is a state of mind, but it is also action-oriented. Action in defiance to the occupation and in defiance to oppression in general. The conditions here in Palestine are orchestrated so that the Palestinians will get tired and simply leave. To continue living in Palestine requires a lot of work, requires a lot of commitment. And there are three important elements for the sumud of Palestinians. Family structure, the good connections between family members and the support of family members of each other. The education of Palestinians. Palestinians are very keen on education and then hard work to manage to cope with the difficulties of life under occupation. And also the value system. The value system and the conviction that we were born to this land, we have to do, it is our right and our duty to live decently in this land. And women are give a momentum for these three important elements. Facing all this oppression that comes from the occupation and apathy that comes from the world, neglect, legitimization for the action of Israel. The veto has been used so many times to protect Israel from paying the consequences for their crimes against humanity. Facing that, Palestinians might lose their faith in the goodness of the world, in the goodness of other human beings. The solidarity serves as correcting that psychological experience of the Palestinians. When we see the civil population, ordinary, simple people in the world going in the roads in Europe, in South Africa, in Latin America, protesting against the Israeli oppression of the Palestinian people, this renovates our faith in a better world. The occupation of Palestine is a project of determination of the Palestinian nationhood, and the Palestinians managed, in spite of the long years of occupation, to maintain their Palestinianity in this land. And the Israelis will never win their peace as far as the Palestinians don't win their freedom. So finally, I congratulate you, women and men, on this very special day that marks the